So one of our one speaker who is going to come from the um, uh, Connecticut newspaper, digital newspaper project on chronicling American history was supposed to be with us today, and I will be sharing this with you through the drive so that you have it. But I kind of feel like it's kind of the 1-2 punch. Loading issues, of course, we're going to have.
Does everybody know about the Connecticut newspaper project? It is tremendous. There's a national newspaper project, but they don't take like every newspaper. And what the Connecticut project does is take those newspapers that aren't selected for the national project and preserve and digitize them. They are doing an amazing job.
They really are. I serve on one of the advisory committees, and I will send this to everyone because I know it's hard to see, but it's a great resource because Connecticut has had the good fortune, due to the hard work at the folks at the state library, of being selected 5 different times. They're in their 5th cycle, and they really tried to get a breadth of different newspapers. And I will send you all the information through our Google forms, Google folders. But these are some of the ones that they're adding right now that will be available for the fall of 2023. So you can see kind of some amazing different little resources. The Sub in Groton, the Messenger from Bloomfield. They really are trying to include not just kind of mainstream newspapers, but also looking at a variety of other, kind of more focused papers as well. And it's a really great, I'm going to just share this with you. I'm obviously not Nicole Bessinger, and I'm sorry she can't be with us today, but I'm going to see if I can open this. Maybe with a little luck.
And the Connecticut newspapers that are being digitized are available through the CTDA, through a collection called Newspapers of Connecticut.
Oh, you can access it from there as well. Oh, great. Okay, it's not going to let me do it that way. But it is a great resource. I would highly recommend to everyone. And right now they have over 400,000 pages of newspapers between 1826 and 1948. You can find all of the different titles. They are available through the Chronicling American database, which Sharon referenced. And if you are looking if you're working on a national topic and you are looking for different points of view, Chronicling American History is a great resource because you can look at different newspapers. And even, a century or two ago, here in Connecticut, we had different newspapers based on political persuasion. So it's good to kind of see a different viewpoints on that. I will share all of this with you so you have all of the links, but it really is a great resource that, and I think newspapers sometimes are perhaps a source that is not used as much as it should be. Because it gives a good sense of what's kind of going on in the world that you can take a look at. There's just one other thing I wanted to share with you. We did want to save some time to talk with you about registration. I just am going to see if I can find an email. Here it is. I wanted to share something that a colleague in California shared with me. The other day, which I'd never seen, and again, we'll give you the link to this. Is everyone still awake out there? I should ask. Everyone's still feeling good? Everyone's really quiet. Hopefully it's just your brain is filled with all these great things you can look at. If this would come up for me. Here we go. So one of the great things I think about National History Day is the generosity of people in sharing resources. And my colleague in California, Whitney Olson, shared this with me, and I quick sent it to Cindy because I was so excited about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And they do this kind of guidebook every year. And it's really just about great sources and where to find them. Now, of course, it's very California-based, but if you go to our website, we do have pages where we have resources and links that will help you out. What we wanted to do today was to really spend a little time doing a deep dive on some sources. It was great to have Sadie here to bring that perspective of objects. Greg, delighted to have you here to share about the CTDA, because that is such a great opportunity for students to do. I mean, actually, I was sitting there feeling jealous because, like, I went to grad school back in the Stone Ages with Tony, and so I was looking at this thing called microfiche, trying not to, like, get sick because it made me, like, wobbly. And the fact that you can, like, access stuff in one place from 80 institutions, I was sitting there and was, like, mind blown, and very, very jealous. But this is a great sources and where to find them from California. History Day, we will share this with you. But there are some great pages that kind of, like, Whitney has this beautiful ability of just pulling things together in a very direct way. And
they they make for their students in California interactive digital notebooks. I know pre-COVID, interactive notebooks were kind of a thing with, like, the composition books, and students were interacting with flip charts and different kinds of things. They went ahead and made this into a digital interactive notebook. So they also have one that is for the History Day process, and so this just goes along with that same format of turning pages and having different tabs and things like that. So,
and it's one thing you should know is that NHD California does do some things that are slightly different than nationals, but it's great with the research tips, especially for those of you who might be newer to History Day, and you're like, well, what's the magic number of research, of primary sources, and it answers those questions. One of the things that I love is it talks a little bit about, what's good research and wide research, the breadth, we talked about that a little bit, primary sources, historical accuracy, and then you just really go on the tabs, and so they have, reference articles, and talking a little bit about that. But I think this is useful for us as instructors, but also for students to be able to access, talking about secondary sources and why they're important. It's something you said, Sharon. I think people are so, like, focused, like, I've got to have 1,000 primary sources, and they forget that there's a role for secondary sources. And it's important to do that. So again, we'll share this with you. And I will share also the information from the Connecticut Digitization Newspaper Project. I know I kind of went through that very quickly. I only got that email as I'm standing here, so didn't have time to prep that. But I'll share you the links, because that's also, it's a worksheet that not only has the link to the actual project, but has some tips for doing research. And, just really, I think, a great opportunity for students to be able to make use of newspapers, and that really adds, again, looking at the bibliography, that adds to the type of sources you're looking at. Does anyone, we kind of had I'm glad we had a chance at lunch to chat a little bit informally. Does anyone have kind of questions we haven't answered? Or I'm thinking back to, when you registered, we asked, do you have a question? And so I think a lot of people had asked about good resources to look at, so hopefully we've answered some of that. Are there questions or things you want to bring up?